Start one of your classes?
That's kind of funny. Yeah. Actually, we did it earlier than usual. We're doing it in 200 word sort.
You're just preparing him for this class.
Yes, he's preparing him for it. All right, so what's a signal and how can we use it for our chat server? Well, let's start with what's a signal.
Process to let another process know that it's done. Something.
So let them know something occurred, right? Okay, so it's essentially an air horn that anybody who's interested in receiving those can see the right? Isn't that right? Air horn?
Yes.
Or
I'm saying it would be better if someone had one.
oh, like right now?
Yeah. What is the signal? Brilliant. Should have kept going.
It's like dying.
I've done that before with the horn in my car, because if you're up close, you're just driving along and all of a sudden you like just slam, pretend to slam on the horn and just hit it. The person next to you just thinks you're just being a jerk. Now, the funny thing is that seemed very, very like custom, and he wasn't making any facial expressions, so I'm concerned it was coming out of.
It does smell a little bit.
There's some pooling. All right, so it's effectively an air horn that allows anybody who's interested in an event to know that something has occurred. It's maybe a somewhat ancient version of the observer design pattern. How can we use it for our chat server? Where would it come in handy for us?
I don't know. I said knowing when someone sent a private message to someone else to let the server know, but I don't know if it would. You can't. What information can you send with the signal? Can you send anything?
Who's going to let the server know?
The client that is sending a private message to someone else.
In our world right now, this potentially is possible because the clients and servers are running on the same machine. But the perception would be in real life, the client's sitting on a different computer, so a signal wouldn't work for that. So let's say no. That's a crappy answer.
In my mind, I was thinking like read receipts.
Okay.
Using a signal to let somebody know that the message got through successfully and was seen.
So if I send a private message to you, I need to have some way of knowing that you read it? Yeah. Okay. Well, so I'm a client thread on one machine. You're a client process on one machine. You're a client process on another machine. How do we receive each other's signals? So I'm sitting. If I'm sitting in the room and I'm just blaring the air horn, at my house, you're not going to hear it at your house.
Well, then wouldn't we want one when like a message is sent to the server?
No. The only place this would be useful then is in the server, because what you're saying is that the clients are not connected to any other clients or servers.
Fair enough. Yep.
Basically, so it's got to be a signal somewhere in the server. I just don't know what we use it for. Maybe
okay.
For when a client is connected.
Ah, tell me more about that. I'm not good enough on the actual quiz.
No, I was right. The way we have this implemented in our thing, you could use signals for what I said.
Yeah, but it was for when a private message was sent? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Is that kind of a dumb thing anyways?
You just asked, how could we? You didn't say, what would be the best way to...
Well, I assumed you were going to apply some intelligence.
You should not assume that.
By the way, Haxton, why didn't you show up for the hackathon?
Because I woke up, I was getting ready, and then I went to my bathroom, and bad things happened.
See, it seems like there's like a string of lies going on. Because I feel like it started off with you telling Jake that basically I stumbled in drunk, and my iPhone or Android, whatever phone you have, my smartphone's battery is low.
Yeah,
I'm incapable of charging it.
That was legit.
All right, so you don't own a charger; they're just throwaways.
I had a brand new CSC450, so I didn't have my charger. So I didn't think there was any way.
Where was the charger?
Not where I left it. So I'm like, well,
So
I was drunk.
He just
So I didn't know where I left it. Okay.
All right, so you were too drunk to know where you left your charger.
Yes.
Okay, and even if you did know where you left it, you might not have been able to plug it in.
Correct.
Okay, so you show up home in the middle of the night, blitzed when you know you have a whole team that you're going to let down the next
I was
morning?
gonna be fine. I was fine.
Fine, it's all
I was
good.
fine.
Okay, so he lets Jake
And that
know.
was Nick's
Lets
fault.
Jake know that he.
There was never any intention for me to miss that until Nick just was like, "Hey, let's go." I'm like, "Okay."
Oh, so you took him out to the.
And
Oh,
he
it was
bought,
your
like, the
idea
entire night,
too.
too.
No, you bought. We
That
went
was
round
Friday
for round.
night.
Yeah, we went round for round.
No, that was the night where you just like. Okay,
This is all recorded. I'm sending this to the dean.
Well, we took an Uber.
Just for the record, this is Wittenberg Hall. This is.
We took
What's
an
up?
Uber. It was legit.
Not your hall? You're saying there's no drinking going on in Wittenberg?
No, not my guys.
Oh, you're like an RA in Wittenberg. Oh, so there's all sorts of other stuff going on in Wittenberg is the issue.
Well, if you look at last year.
So you let down 4 people.
How? I thought there was only
3 people, yeah, 3 people on your team.
You let yourself down.
Then I had to add them in different teams.
I'm sorry.
Apology not
I'm
accepted.
actually really sorry.
Doctor, you're supposed
I may
to
not sound it, but
I
was really looking forward to
leave that at all.
So.
All I know is when this goes down, you're getting the extra chunky. Take that. It was a peanut butter joke. I figure I should probably, in case the inside joke gets too outside. All right, so. All right, so you said when a new user connects, maybe raise a signal. So if the server has a new incoming connection, they raise a signal, who's receiving that signal? All of the worker bees that are handling connected clients. Okay, and why might it be interesting for them to receive incoming connections?
A new client has connected.
Yeah, somebody has entered the room, something like that. So when they receive that signal, they can then send a message to their connected clients, letting them know that somebody's entered the room. All right.
Too, because then how else would we send private messages if we don't?
But we don't have. Well, we're sending private messages with right now what client ID. Yeah, so it's like, hey, I'd like to send not client ID even, file descriptor. I'd like to send the guy hanging on to port 4 this private message. Okay, so homework assignment was to get private messages working.
Yeah. So you can accept user input and also private messaging.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And just as I think a somewhat quick thing, we were doing our string test last time, and we were having a problem with the concatenation, right? I looked that up, and I'm actually forgetting what the scoop was. We saw the tokenizer thing last time. It was string cat. If we want to glue both of these together, let's go.
I don't understand how C has just such terrible string manipulation.
The strings didn't exist.
Okay, so, but why did strings not exist? Were people not writing strings? Back
Well,
then?
okay,
Were they not
no,
saying
maybe
hello
this is
world?
the better way of saying it. So this goes back to when I first talked about why I talk about the evolution of languages for us understanding our languages today. Strings are so powerful today; they've evolved to that point.
Sure.
So what we're looking at right now is the original strings and us just having some manipulation type functions in a non-object oriented language for starters. So basically, a string doesn't know how to do anything to itself. A string isn't even a thing. We just have a bunch of functions we pass it to, and it manipulates it and sends us back memory addresses or changes it in a memory address. So it's not that it had bad strings. It's just we hadn't evolved our programming
Even
languages.
still, I think that the manipulation tools, string copy, all of these, there's like there's not enough of them. I don't know how people did stuff with strings.
You write your own functions.
That is so much work. Like several lines of code.
I mean, couldn't we write our own string cat?
It's not wanting to do work.
I mean, really, couldn't we write our own? Couldn't we write our own string cat?
I know, but it just seems like that would be like it's so ingrained today in every programming language. I'm just surprised that I haven't run into any tools that they don't have for like integers or array, just other stuff. I haven't. It's only strings that they just.
Sure.
I feel like the toolbox is just empty.
Well, okay, but if we translate that to real life, couldn't we say that, we have trouble recognizing what the world was like when everybody just did things on horseback? And then when we well, yeah. So I mean, it's this is really just the evolution of our languages that we're seeing. We were getting.
People back then were just idiots.
Say this again.
People back then were just idiots. Couldn't build a car. Couldn't manipulate strings.
So let's try this real quick because I think this actually gives us a reasonable answer, and then I'll explain what the scoop was. Oh. So it had to do with our memory addresses. We were getting a segmentation fault before, but our strings were not properly terminated for the \0, which is what stringcat relies on. So here's two strings. This is a source, this is a destination. We're using string copy to copy this string into this source. So notice that they're not using normal char pointers, they're using char arrays. This guy does the work of allocating space for 50 of those guys, so this was really our issue. We probably could actually get away without using string copy. We'll try it here in a second. But this copies into source this string, giving it and what's important about string copy is it also gives it that \0 termination character, which is how C determines the end of a string. See, in our world, when we think about Java or C# or something like that, strings know their length. We don't have to have a special termination character. But under the hood, these guys go back to these older languages, and C# and Java are both written in terms of an underlying language that's probably C or C++. Especially Java, the virtual machine has to be written in C++. And then, C++, everything or C#, everything compiles down to missile code, which the .NET component architecture is going to turn it into native libraries that have been written in C++ forever. So, at the end of the day, our strings of today are C++ strings and C# pointers. We are working with them at a evolution above. So let's run this real quick. So we're string catting onto destination, the source. So we should get our final string. Let's just run this and make sure it doesn't crash. What was the trick to get this thing bigger? Control scroll. That's like a made-up thing. I'm doing Command+, which works for the... Yeah, so there's our final destination string. Yeah, but it isn't when we go in here. And here I can just modify it like that.
No, if you click the gear, it's down at the bottom on the right.
Oh, something else?
Go back to your other screen with your code. Down up there.
Wasn't it if you zoom in on here?
Well, I can get this to adjust size.
Yeah. No. Keep it up. Go higher.
If you have them on the same screen,
Bigger, and now
your
look-
terminal,
Yeah.
Oh. So if I make that bigger,
you have to
Put
put them on the
that-
same screen.
Yeah.
What?
So like you have that attached to your dock.
yeah, I got
Grab
you.
that tab and put it.
Grab this tab
I would grab the other tab.
and do what with it?
Like drag it outside of there. Take it off. Yeah, up there. Let go. See if it. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so
Yeah, that's right.
That would have worked. Just do that.
There you go.
now,
Back here.
oh, very,
Lame.
very nice.
Line.
No. Now you should be able to do the zoom in command plus.
You guys are useless.
Your machine's broken.
All right. Well, in any case, that worked there, and now let's try it without using string copy. I think it should still work. Because GCC should terminate our strings for us. Compatible types when assigning the type chart.
You forgot something after this is destination.
Oh, semicolon. Well, no, these are. This should be a char pointer. So I do this. That actually shouldn't work. Yeah. And I guess to do it in 2 pieces like that, you do have to use string copy. Oh, fair enough. All right, so let's work on file I/O stuff, reading stuff in. I think I told you you could use either getS or Scanf. Either one of those. Did I mention both of those? Which one did you guys end up using? All right, so.
People online said that Scanf came with a lot of overhead that you shouldn't use. That's just what Stack Overflow told me.
Well, Scanf is pretty old. I mean, it's been around for. I mean, it came out like at the same time. It's from Standard I/O. It came out from like printf time period. So I'm sure there's plenty of overhead. So if we go in here, we do well. Here, I actually hate how. How do I disconnect these guys now?
Drag it back up.
Disconnect them. You want to put them on the same one again?
Drag the.
Whoa.
Whoa! Whoa! Drag the one. Drag them all down. All down in the same line. I don't know. Whoa! I don't know.
Ah, perfect. Now if you separate one more, you should have Exodia. Program is complete.
There. So we got this.
That's the default view, right?
That would be pretty funny if that was the default view. All right. Well, I just need to. Where's my string test? Can I make this bigger? Ha-ha! Small victories. What? Brought to you by Jiffy. Huh? No, Jiffy is a maker of peanut butter, isn't it?
Jif.
Jif? Oh, Jif?
Skippy.
Skippy.
Yeah. That man knows his peanut butter.
Well, I am kind of from the future, so trust me. Trust me, in 2028, the peanut butter giants merge. I'm sorry, couple. Okay. All right. So in any case, let's go ahead and read something in from the user, and then we'll bring the code into our client application. So we'll test it here, and then bring it over. So let me open this up. So we'll look at man getS. So that's what some of you use is getS. So there's a bunch of different versions of this for reading from files and stuff like that. So getS lives in standard I/O. Reads a line from standard in into the buffer pointed to by S until either a terminating new line or end of file. End of file would be something from reading in from a normal file, which it replaces with the \0. So that's our string termination character. All right. fgetS is specifically for reading in from files. All right. So when we do getS, it assumes standard input. So let's start with that guy. So we'll say char pointer input is equal to getS.
I'm waiting for you to get this funny warning. GetS function is dangerous and should not be used.
It's well, the reason is because you can put the terminating character wherever, so you can probably feed your program memory overwrites and stuff. Let's see. What does this guy return? Because we pass it the buffer itself. So we would do this. GetS input. We could say putS. Please enter something. Now we can getS and then do a puts input. Get rid of that. Oh. Well, input should be a let's just do it the way I like doing it. Input is equal to malloc 50 times size of char. Now we should be able to pass that guy input and then also print input. Can we seriously not figure out how to make this screen bigger? Has it always been like this?
Is it under view?
I know at one point we were able to get it where we were just like
Oh.
increasing the.
Increase the web browser and zoom in.
I did.
That's what Command Plus should do. But if you go to the top right, the triple bars, and then the actual plus there, zoom.
Oh, this guy?
125. Oh,
Yeah, that's-
Look at that.
That's the one that we're talking about.
well, Command
Whoa.
Plus should do the same thing. It must be because it's that separate window.
Must be the Mac.
Could be. All right. So we got just our two wordings, right? All right. So there's us reading something in and printing it back out. And this was your warning message. Function is dangerous and should not be used. And then the alternative is scanf. So scanf takes in a formatted string, just like printf, and then we can see this will allow us to actually read in multiple things. Yeah, let's try this. It actually might work well for so let's call this this command. And then let's call this guy message. Let's see, will that let us read in both? Command message. This might allow us to bypass the tokenizer. Oh, I must be missing a semicolon or something.
Oh, yeah, right after Scanf.
But this problem was, that should be fine. That should be fine. Malloc is in standard lib. Oh, it's because we don't have standard lib in here. Okay, let's see. So this split it into two. So we got the tell, and then we got the someone, but can we...
You only had two of the strings
Huh?
for each.
Yeah, but I want to know if I could say get the rest with scanf.
Can't you just do dot dot dot? Doesn't that do it?
Not in original C. It's possible it'll do it now.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's C++. It has a very good chance of working, but
This will be cool if we can avoid Stringtokenizer. Where's this optional M character it's talking about? So if I do that's a handy little trick. So with this, I don't actually have to allocate memory for those guys. I can just do MS, and it should allocate the correct amount of memory. Wonder why it's giving us a warning. Is it just, maybe it's just %m, and it'll automatically generate memory. Does that assume that we're entering in a string? Percent SM. Yeah, seems like that.
Segmentation. Tell something. Tell segmentation.
Let's see.
What's the M after it for?
That is something from the documentation that says it'll automatically allocate the correct amount of memory. Let's do.
Does it have to be %M?
Well, it's supposed to be an extra. Read a string with spaces. How to scan the rest of the line and see. Oh, I can do that. But then we need to be even, which is the best thing would be if we can get both sides working, if we can have it allocate the amount of memory. So let's get that working again. And that's going to be %s. And this one is going to be that, which says everything until it's not the carriage return. So this is a regular expression. Let's see if that'll get everything. Tell someone something. Yep, tell someone something. So that gets rid of the need for the tokenizer. So we can just take all messages we read in from the client side through this, and if the very first thing it reads in is one of our known commands, then we do something with it. Otherwise, we concatenate whatever it is back together, and that's the message we broadcast. Okay. So that should be good. Well, now I'm interested in this. We'll try that.
It's just a warning.
Well, it's a warning about the type I'm giving it.
Oh.
It's telling me I'm not giving it something it expects. Scanf %m. Scanf dynamic allocation. Oh wait, that kind of makes sense. I hate switching. I always think my development stuff is outside of the browser. Throws me for a curve. So let's go back to this. This will be super slick if we can do this. And then we're going to give it the address.
After or before?
Well, if I'm following the %s thing, oh no, it's %ms. %m as %m that. Let's give that the tell someone something else. Woot! All right, that's totally legit. All right, so now we don't have to worry about allocating memory. So let's put this into a function that we can throw it over in. So this is going to be we'll call this guy void process chat. Let's just take all of this for right now. We'll bring one thing back. All right, so let's go ahead and we want to ask whether that command was tell, so we're going to use string compare, right? So if string cmp tell, is that what's the command we're going to use for sending a private message? Well, you still have to have a command to like something that flags
I
it.
just did backslash and the number, and that was the file you were sending it to.
Okay, well I'm going to do minus tell. So, huh? So we're actually going to get three things here. %ms char pointer who at who. So we'll write in a command who. Well, what happens if we don't give it enough? I guess we can test that in a second. All right, so tell and star command. If those guys are the same, let's just do put s sending private message. Else well, send to all for right now just to test it in the last minute here. Comment these out for a second. Process chat. We need to prototype this. Please enter something, tell something, blah, blah, whatever. Didn't match on the tell. All right, so we'll match the tell next time, and then you'll have an assignment after we have this function working, and we will raise signals next time too. Then I'll give you an assignment over the weekend. All right, I'll see everybody on Friday.